Hey, what if you could fund your business like the big guys? What if your business could look and feel like a corporate giant to the credit bureaus without risking your personal assets?
Mm.
In today's episode of Profit with a Plan, I have Murray Beaulieu here, and he shares insider strategies to boost your credit, business credit, to use credit without a personal guarantee. How about transferring credit when you sell your company? What? And master cash flow with floating accounts, payable and receivable. In this game changing episode, this is exactly what your business has been looking for. So don't miss it. And your next level of growth is here right now. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you ready to boost your profit and grow your business? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we share ideas to help you scale your company, increase profitability, and set up your business for a successful exit. I'm Marcia Reiner, a business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. And I've helped countless entrepreneurs to build highly profitable and sale ready businesses. That's more profit now and a bigger payout later. On today's episode, it is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where we don't just talk profit, we deliver it. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit infiniteprofitconsulting.com and start boosting your bottom line today. Hey, but before we get started, I have something to share with you. If you wanted to avoid those profit plateaus, operational headaches, and those pesky growth roadblocks, well, grab my free Profit Booster Playbook at boostingprofit.com, where I share 3 essential strategies to elevate your profits quickly. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Our guest today is Murray Beaulieu, and I apologize if I'm butchering your French name. It's so beautiful, and I am so far from being French. But Murray is passionate about leveling the playing field for business owners when it comes to properly obtaining and deploying business credit and financing. No one who started a small business wanted to stay small as a business. And Murray, as an Army veteran and financial executive with over 35 years in Fortune 500 companies, Murray understands how credit works for business. If there was a way to get all the money you needed for your business when you needed it without the personal guarantees, wouldn't you want to learn more? Well, that's what we're going to do today. Welcome to Profit with a Plan, Murray.
Hey, thanks for having me, Marcia. Wow,
Yes, yes.
very excited. I like the boosted. That's a uh, great tagline. I use that a lot myself. So great mind state.
Yeah,
I like.
well, I actually last year I think I went and got everything trademarked. So boosting
Oh,
profits is trademarked and infinite profit is trademarked. So
wow. Good for
yeah.
you. Good for you. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's fun. It's fun. So anyways, thank you. I think boosting is really a valuable name
Mm,
and adjective for what we do, right?
mm.
You're accelerating, you're boosting, you're growing, you're doing all these great things. And so I love putting the right word or a fun
Yeah,
word in there to help us do it.
very appropriate. Well done. Well done.
Thanks, thanks. So, hey, looking at your history of all these times in corporate 500 companies,
Mm.
Fortune 500 companies, where did it really transition into business credit?
So it's a whole different world, right? It's a whole different rule book. I didn't have to worry about any of this stuff as a finance guy because, when you're with a big company, the rules are different. They have so many more resources. There was probably 50 to 100 guys who handled this, and they have so many more options when you're a big public company. So I had to manage the money that we got. I had to manage, 9-figure budgets for manufacturing operations, high tech manufacturing. But I never had to worry about getting it. So a small business owner doesn't have all these resources. And by
Mm.
small business, I'm going to say anybody below 100 million, right? They don't have all the people on the bench to do this stuff. So
Or the
they're
deep pockets that
the
support
deep
it? Because
pockets, yeah. They don't have all the
credit
capability.
in history, and not just above you, but credit, they only want to give it to people that don't need it, right?
Wow, that's true. That's true. Yeah, if you don't need it, we got it for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then those that really need it and they're trying to bootstrap their business and, get all the tools that they need so they could really deliver what they believe out of their heart. It's like they got to stand on their head to get it.
100%. And when you become a small business owner, they don't give you a book and say, "Here's the manual on how to get credit," you know?
Exactly.
Uh, so
Exactly.
yeah, so we're gonna pull the curtain back a little bit on that. I think every business needs money, whether you're a one man, one person, online Shopify store, or whether you're Walmart. I mean, everybody needs access to money at
Yes,
some point, right? And there is ways to get it, but most business owners don't know how to do it.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Well, that's why I thought this was going to be such a great conversation because, I'm a firm believer that it's a tool. Business credit and
mm,
my favorite term, other people's money,
other
you
people's
know,
money.
that's a tool, a
Mm,
very useful tool that we have access to or should have
mm,
access to that we should utilize in our business to make smart decisions rather than
mm,
taking from, your own cash flow or, borrowing from, friends and family or worse, your own savings account to fund this growth opportunity that you have. And so to understand what business credit is, how to really utilize it in the best way,
mm,
and then pulling the levers when it's appropriate to use.
mm.
I mean, this is a perfect tool for business growth.
And I'm glad you said that. That's a great segue because we believe and we have, we think that business credit is the most underutilized business tool in America. It's important to get access to capital, but there's a lot of other reasons why you need, why business credit is good. Money, of course, is a big thing, but
Who
there's a
doesn't
lot
want
of
more money?
other things too that it helps that you might not have thought about. We can talk
Mm,
about that.
yeah.
Particularly as we transition businesses, right? That's one of the things that you, among many, that you specialize in. So, yeah, if we could get into that. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm fired up. I like leveling the playing field for sure. With the big guys, anything we can do, because I think the odds are stacked against the small business owner. And I think they're the backbone of the country, and anything we can do to help them along, I think is very rewarding.
Ah, I love it. I love it. And thank you for recognizing the fact that, it really is. All the mom and pops, all the people I hang out in the 1 to 10 million space,
Yeah.
so micro-sized companies, but if you're talking to a small business owner, they're going, "Wow, that's a good company," right?
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's so many of us that are really just striving out there, trying to compete, trying to make a good product or service feed their family, feed the community, take care of their
Mm,
employees, do all
yeah.
these things, and money always becomes this like this monkey on our back that we
Mm,
stress over every day.
yeah.
And I just love the idea that we can use this tool to make life, business, and our community a lot better. So let's get into talking about really truly, and if we can keep this short, because I know a lot of people know about credit, right? But
Yeah.
really, what's the difference between credit and business credit?
So I think it's a good idea to talk about that, the business credit and personal credit, right? Most people know personal credit, right? There's a couple of things we can talk about. This hand is going to be personal credit. So personal credit starts automatically, required by law. Once we turn 18, everything we do financially is attached to our social security number, and all those transactions get reported to the three consumer credit bureaus. That happens. Here's the key words to remember: automatic, required by law, right? So people know that. And then from that, a FICO score, there's an algorithm that's generated, and the scores range from 500 to 800-ish, give or take. And 730 is considered a sweet spot. Most people know that, right?
Mhm.
Business credit is completely different. So uh,
And
the
nobody
big
knows about
nobody
it.
knows about it. Here's the big difference, and I'll explain why in a second. With business credit, it's not automatic. It's
Mm,
not required by law, and the only way you can build it is you have to be intentional
mm.
because it doesn't happen on its own. And you know what? No one knows how to do it. So it just doesn't happen for most people, right? So we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit here. So here's a couple attributes on business credit that I think are pertinent to learn why why we do what we do and why you need to learn this. Um, so the credit bureaus are different. That's not so much of a big deal. The scoring range is different. It's 0 to 100. Now
Mm,
that's 80 is like the sweet spot. 80 is the equivalent of a FICO 730. Now those two things aren't really materially different. It's just different.
mhm.
Here's what's really different. right? I said it's not automatic. It's not required by law. Over 90% of the transactions that occur on the business credit side never get reported to the business credit bureaus. Over 90%.
That's crazy.
Furthermore, furthermore, you don't know what you're doing, whether it's going anywhere or not. So therefore, if they don't have any record of you paying off that credit card, you're not going to be able to build your credit.
Mm.
And you don't know you're not building it. So you're just spinning your wheels and you're not getting anywhere on the business credit side, right? And if you
Because
don't
we think
know,
it's
you
done
don't know.
automatically because we're so used to the personal side.
Why wouldn't it be done? It just makes sense, but I don't know why we're like this, but it's like the wild, wild west. And
Mm.
so if I say this a million times, but I'm beating a drum here. If you don't know, you don't know, like anything else, right? And so uh, here's the other thing. Well, there's a lot of things different. Here's not another big difference. Personal credit. Um, the more you borrow, at some point you're going to hit a ceiling where your score is going to start to be negatively affected, right? You're going to have too much debt, and you just can't
Yeah, I
borrow
like that.
in infinity, right? And so your score is going to go down. Which what happens when your score goes down? You get
Mm.
lousier terms, lousy interest rates, or you could get rejected completely. Business credit, as long as you have a demonstrated ability to pay, they want to give you more credit.
Yay!
It's a 180-degree opposite. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right, but anyway, um, but here's a key word there: demonstrated. So if the credit bureaus aren't getting the transactions, you're not demonstrating anything.
Mm.
So in order to get credit, in order to get recognized, there's multiple uses of the word credit. So in order to get recognized that you are building credit, you have to make sure that the things you're doing are reporting, and that's not as easy as it sounds. So
Mm. Can we self-report? Or the
mm,
company that we're doing business with has to do the reporting to
the
the
company
agent?
that no, you can't self-report, and so they're not incentivized to report because it's not required by law. It does, it takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of time to report. Not much. It's mostly electronic, but they just don't have any incentivization to do it. And
Mm.
there's other reasons, which I'll explain in a minute, why it just doesn't happen. So there are cases where you can request them to report. There's a form you can fill out or go onto a website or something, and occasionally they'll agree. But if there's some big gorilla, they're probably
Well,
not
if
going
they
to.
don't wanna do it, they don't wanna do it, which
Why
is
should
terrible.
they?
And
Yeah,
here
why
we're
should they?
struggling trying to build that credit so we can go buy new equipment, we can, buy a building, we can fund the growth that we're trying to get and get that line
Mm,
of credit
yeah,
higher or
yeah.
managing, it's like,
It's
okay,
brutal. It's brutal. And
yes.
so I think this is my take. Business owners don't know how to do this, and so they get blinders on because they keep getting turned down for loans, or they keep getting required to have personal guarantees.
Mm,
See, let's talk about personal guarantees for a second. When you build credit against your EIN, you're keeping the liability within the company, right? And that's the whole reason you created a business entity in the first place,
right.
right? Is to keep the liability. Why else would you create an LLC or a S corp or whatever, right? You don't want to commingle accounting 101. You don't want to commingle personal with business stuff, right? So if you put your social security number on an application for a business loan, it's like taking a shower with a raincoat on. You basically defeated the whole purpose of isolating the liability. You penetrate the corporate veil of protection. Okay. And banks are in the business of personal guarantees. So they're going to want you to
Sure.
sign personal guarantees as much as possible. So the answer to that is you got to find either a new loan officer or a new bank. Because
Mm.
most banks aren't going to bend to this. This is the way we've always done it. But if you can build good business credit against your EIN number and not your social security number, that's the way you want to go. You shouldn't have to personally guarantee loans for your business. That's just ridiculous, but it's just the way things are. And we
Yeah,
don't want to
it's
be
it's
stuck in
not
the
like
way
I'm
things
gonna
are.
pay it out of my pocket, right? I'm paying it out of the business fund, right? The
Yeah.
business has equity, the business has revenue coming in, the business is doing it. So why should my social security
You,
number
sh-
be on that
you shouldn't
application?
have to. Shouldn't have to, but we get forced to by some banks. So
Okay.
anyway, does that make sense so far?
Absolutely.
How are
So
we
now
doing?
we've got a clear idea of the difference in the two and really the benefits of one over the other and why we should draw a line in the sand and
Mm,
not use our Social Security or our personal guarantee on our personal credit
Mm.
when trying to obtain business credit.
Couple more benefits real quick, and then I'll
Sure,
talk about how to get business credit real quick. I'll make this real quick because this is
sure.
important. It's beyond just getting access to money, which is important, obviously. The more business credit you get, the more options open up. The types of loans you can get and the types of credit you can get just open up. I'm a 35-year corporate executive. Some of these loans I didn't even know existed. That once you get a score of 80 and you get credibility, they'll come to you. That there's so many more options besides a line of credit, and there's different kinds of lines of credit, by the way. And it just there's loans against accounts receivable, loans against inventory, loans against equipment, and many more, many more. There's certain things that can apply to your situation. But here's some other things.
Exactly.
Um, you can get lower insurance premiums because one of the things for your company, whatever your company's premiums are, financial stability is one of the things that underwriters look for. Um, you can get better business credit is public information. Okay.
Mhm.
So your competitors have access to your credit, whether you know it or not. And your partners have access. Your subcontractors, your vendors, they all, if they choose to, and if they know how to do it, they can easily find how you stack up, right? So you always want to look good for the business credit bureaus because you never know how it's going to benefit you. Quick story, real quick. One of our clients was a very small government contractor. He was bidding on a job against the 500-pound gorilla in the industry. We got him a good credit score, right? He was clever enough to pull because it's public information, he pulled the competitor's credit score, and apparently they sucked. Uh,
Oh,
okay, so when the day came to submit the bids, he slid the two credit reports in front of the client and said, "Genius stuff." He said, "Well, who would you rather work for? Someone who pays their bills or someone who doesn't?" And he won the job. So you can use it strategically. You can use it to decide whether you want to work for this subcontractor or that vendor or whatever, right? So, but the big juicy win in terms of Marcia and all your clients is there's a way to sell your business with the EIN attached. There's
oh
a
my
way
goodness.
there's a way to transition your business, and that's beyond the scope of this call, but there's a way to do that. And if you've built up a good credit score against that EIN, do you think that's going to make the company more valuable when you transition it?
Absolutely, because also, if I've built up that EIN credit, that goes with the new company if the new company transfers the EIN, which normally they do. But the other thing is that now I'm not obligated to take the profits off of my company and pay off my debt. I can
How
transfer the debt with the company. Yeah.
exactly. That's huge. Most business owners are stuck with their own loans, personal loans, when they sell the business, and the new buyer is not going to pay off your personal loans. So it's a huge win, right? It's a huge win. So
Wow.
good thing to keep
See,
in mind. I'm glad I I shouldn't have. This is your wheelhouse. So yeah, good for you. So yeah,
It's
uh,
being creative, right? And
yeah,
in any industry, and that's what I do. I'm always thinking outside the box when I'm
mm,
working with my clients to figure out how can we do things maybe differently. Just because it's been done like that for 100 years, right? Doesn't mean
right.
that that's the way we need to continue to do it. And I'm always looking for new opportunities. And what a golden gem that is to build credit
Mm,
without your personal guarantees. So now you keep
huge.
the corporate veil intact and you're doing
Mm,
the right things. But then at the end, when you go to dump the company, you don't have to carry the load of all the debt that the
huge, huge.
company had when you get paid out of your win.
That's right.
Um,
And not only that, but if you do have a lot of business loans against your personal uh, credit and you start building business credit, you can refinance that out
yeah.
where it should be, right?
Love it.
So anyway, a lot
Love
of
it.
good
See,
things.
that's just there's smart tactics because,
Mm,
when you're looking at the bottom line and you look at the bottom line as a CFO for companies for years and you're going, "Okay, I'm managing the money of this company. How can
mm,
I do it better?" And what better way is to leverage and use the tools properly, but make sure the
100%.
bottom line looks good. And
Yes.
this is a fantastic way of doing it. So I love these ideas. All right.
All
So
right. So here's a couple ways.
we can talk for days on this stuff, Murray.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
it's really juicy good things to utilize the tools
Mm,
that are available to business owners. That's the advantage of being a business owner. You get tax breaks, you get
mm.
credit opportunities because you're building an entity that services the community, hires people, pays vendors, and does stuff and produces a product, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
why not do it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Small business are the backbone of the country. So,
Yeah,
um,
agreed.
I,
All right.
there's we can go over how to build credit, but I think we might be out of time. But what we can do.
Well, I think we
You
can
want to talk
talk
a little bit
about why
about it?
don't I mean, there's lots of little things that you can
All
do
right,
to build credit. We got time. We got
all right,
about 8 or 10 minutes left.
all
We
right.
can we can milk this one a little bit longer. But in thinking about it, when you're building credit, right?
Mm,
There are equity lines and there's credit cards and there's
mm,
loans to buy stuff.
mm-hmm,
What are some of the best mixtures? Because back in the personal side, we know you should have a gas card, a credit card, a mortgage, a
mm,
loan, you should have some balancing of things. How is
mm-hmm.
that in the business credit space? What kind of
So,
credit do we need?
so I'm going to not give you the answer you want. I'm going to say that once you get good credit, you get access to all these things.
Mm.
Okay, so
Okay.
you can tailor the opportunity to what you need it for. Because
Got it.
line of credit is a good all-purpose thing to have, but there's different kinds of lines of credit as you build credit. And there might be something that's more specific to the thing you have that's actually going to be a better deal. But there's a million different scenarios. The bottom line
Good to
is
know.
you get so much more flexibility to manage cash flow, and whatever the purpose is, there might be something beyond what you thought about because you've been conditioned by banks to only think in this little tiny box, right? And then when you work with somebody who works with businesses, then it just opens the door to so many opportunities, which is very cool.
Right.
Very
What
cool.
you don't know. And now you're learning that there's a whole nother world out there that you
Mm,
should know about to be
yes.
able to, get the best for your company. I love
I got
these
a few quick
ideas though.
tips,
Yeah,
that you can do
please.
on your own, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a foundation before we even talk about the kind of loans. You got to get the foundation in place. That means the data on your company as wherever you have a presence, meaning your website, where you register with the Secretary of State, your invoices, your bank account, all this stuff has to be consistent. Okay, so this is the foundation. All right, you've got to
Yeah.
look, smell, and feel like Walmart when it comes to the credit bureaus. If there's anything that looks out of place, you lose credibility. You're going to get rejected right away, even if it's a typo. Right?
Like in your
And
address and stuff like that?
yes, and let's talk about addresses. Is the most common one. There's like 120 variables, but address is one thing is the main thing. And by the way, every client we've had has had something screwed up. So first of all, it can't be a PO box and it can't be your home address. Those are two things that are red flags that the underwriter is going to think, oh, this could be fraud. That they're looking for
Mm,
fraud. They're looking for
mm.
something that doesn't. It has no bearing on whether you can pay off loans or not. It's like fraud. If you have a PO box, is that a real business? You know what I mean? So you got to look credible. You got to be like a runway model. I don't like to use that. I like the Walmart scenario. Anyway,
Good.
um, so you got to use a concrete address or a virtual address will work, and that address has to be consistent everywhere you exist. When somebody's underwriting you and they find you have multiple addresses, we had a plumber who'd been in business for 18 years. He was making 15 million in revenue. So this guy's a pretty good plumber, but he couldn't get business credit. So he's like, well, how the hell do I get business credit? So we pulled his credit report. He had 9 addresses.
What?
And he goes, oh, yeah, that was the old warehouse we had. Oh, yeah, that's my brother-in-law's company. We bought them out. Oh, yeah, that's the guy, blah, blah, blah. So he had all these stories, but no one told him, and it's not his fault. No one told him he had to clean all that up and consolidate it. And so consequently, people were doing a credit look on, and they had like 9 addresses. Like, this guy's not credible. It could be fraud. So he was getting rejected. You get where I'm going. So you
Absolutely.
got to have it all consolidated into one consistent address wherever you have wherever somebody can check you out. Okay,
Wow.
that's one of the most important things. But you also got to have a business phone number, not your personal cell phone number. And you got to have a business email address, like not Joe's business at
Gmail.
gmail.com, you're out of here, right? You got to have a business email. You got to be, listen to this. This is a bizarre one. You got to be registered with online 411. What the heck is that? It's a
Online
thing.
411?
It's like no one uses it anymore, but it's free to register and it gives you credibility. It just like if you're a company, you're not going to take that step, right? So they consider that, oh, this guy's, it's another, you want to make all the odds in your favor, right? So that's
Love it.
another little administrative doohickey that you got to apply to your business.
And
Um,
let me just validate what you said here,
yeah,
because a few years back, some Yahoo came in to Los Angeles before I moved to Vegas, and he came in with my business name and a Wyoming business license and said he could use that name anywhere he wanted. So when I had to change over from my old company name to Infinite Profit, I had no idea where my footprint had been on
yes,
so many different places and so many different cubby holes and attics and addresses and all these things that had that old company name that I had to switch over. And so we
great
really
point.
don't realize those 9 addresses that the plumber had is
Yeah,
probably in every one of our listeners' back door right now in their
that's right.
closet. They've got a whole bunch of garbage because, we've
Who
been in business
knew?
for a while. Who
Yeah, and
knew,
who knew?
right?
Who knew that
And
was a
who
big deal,
and
right?
who
Who
knew
knew?
to go back and update and
That,
refresh and
that's right.
remove rather than saying, "Oh, my address was here, was here, was here, was here," but my email address, my name, the spelling, the phone numbers, I mean, it's just like, boom.
And by the
This is
way,
the proper fix right
I,
here.
I didn't know that either. By the way, I sound like I'm bragging. I know this stuff, and I'm a 35-year course. I didn't know this either. So this is why I'm so passionate. Because I figured if I 35 years finance guy, and I don't know this, there's a lot of people who don't know it. So you're absolutely right. That's a great scenario. I mean, it's too bad you had to go through all that, but you're not alone in that kind of situation where people, you never know where you're showing up. So you got to clean up your reputation, basically,
Yes,
right?
yes. And you'd be surprised where that is.
Mm,
You really don't know until you open the curtain, pull back the curtain, as you
yes.
say, and you go
Yeah.
in and you're like, oh,
Oh my
wow, that was
God, where did
like
that
10,
come
12
from?
years ago. Okay, I think
Yeah,
I need to update that.
because who thought of that? So I'll just wrap this up. What once you get all that cleaned up, then you want to sign up for the 3 credit bureaus. Okay, there's Dun and Bradstreet, there's Experian Business, and there's Equifax Business. So
Okay.
you got to sign
Which
up
is
because
completely different from your personal
you
side.
come 3 because you don't know which one is going to be pulled from, right? You got to have a presence from all 3, and you got to build them legitimately. So once you have that all hooked up, then you can start trying to build credit, because part of the reason why the 90% don't get reported, which was one of the intro differences that I gave, is because the data is all screwed up and it never gets sent. So if you can clean up some of that data and take the new clean data you have and make sure the credit bureaus have the same, because whenever you hand off data, it's got to be a clean, everything's got to line up, right? So
Exactly.
if you can match it all up, the chances of you starting to get reported are going to be significantly increased. Just that little step right there is going to go a long way.
Love it.
Does that make sense? And then we have other
Absolutely.
tools when we can talk about, at a later
Absolutely.
time. But yeah.
And can I just say, if you're new to credit, right? Business credit, which I think surprisingly, a lot of us, even though we've been in business for a long time, are pretty darn new to business credit. You know, Transferring some of those account relationships that you already have
Mm,
from your personal that you run through your company expenses anyways,
mm,
right? Like
mm,
your cell phones and, the insurances and the things that you have, right?
mm,
If
mm,
you just transfer those relationships into your business name,
mm,
and then you start getting the reporting done, I
mm.
think it could be rather quickly.
It
I mean,
stacks up.
obviously, to get it done properly and fast, you want to use an experience, an expert such as you. But I mean, I think there's a quick, easy way that we can start the process
Hmm.
on our own and look at ways to do it. But Murray, I know there's many, many, many hidden gems that you can provide value to that the business owner A doesn't know about,
Mm,
B, doesn't have time and
mm,
probably shouldn't be focusing on their time doing that. They should probably just go, Murray, help me out.
mm.
Where can listeners find you so you can start to help them out?
Yeah, so I exaggerate and say, I could build my own house if I watched 10,000 years of YouTube videos.
Right? I probably
But
wouldn't stand
it
up
would
in a
probably
windstorm.
suck. Yeah, it would probably suck, and I'd be broke, and I would have no life. But so yeah, so we condense the time to build your credit as short as possible, and
Mm,
we have a proven program and over 1.5 billion in credit uh, flowed through our system. So um, it's worth a phone call. So to contact me, our company name is, it's another tough name to spell. Trebuchet Solutions. I'll spell that Trebuchet Solutions, all one
okay.
word. Trebuchet means catapult in
Huh,
French. So we
I love that.
catapult, we put a new trajectory on your business. Ba-dum, bum, ba-dum,
Ah,
bum. But the best
love
way to
it.
contact me is on LinkedIn. Okay. I'm all over LinkedIn. My name is on the show notes here, Murray
Yes.
Beaulieu. There's only one Murray Beaulieu on LinkedIn. That's me. It's a French name and hard to spell, but if you send me a message that you heard about me on Marcia's Infinite Profit podcast, um, and you book a call with me, I will, as a thank you for your time to listen to this, I will pull your business credit report, which is 50 to $100. That's not free for you. But we have a deal going on, and we'll review your business credit profile to see what, the business credit bureaus think of you at this moment in time, and just to kind of go over this stuff. And then you can decide if you want to work with us or not. It's up to you. But there's so many things you can do with business credit. That it just, again, I think it's very underutilized. It's unknown. I'm not trying to brag that I know a lot, but I'm telling you, I didn't know anything 2 years ago, and this is such an open field that if there's anything I can do to help people, there's no minimum requirement in terms of revenue that you should do this. It's just a matter of whether the economics of your business support this. But the biggest thing to think about, I think, is the elimination of, we can't eliminate every personal guarantee, but we can eliminate most of them. That's something that really sticks in the craw of most business owners. You don't want to be, there's enough risk in business, right? The guy who told me about this program had $18 million of commercial real estate property, right? He was a builder. And in 2008, we all know what happened in 2008. He had many loans out, and one of his smallest loans got pulled during this housing crisis for no reason other than the bank was going to get money from the government. And he did nothing wrong. Okay. He did nothing wrong. He was a pillar of the community. And that set off a domino effect. He lost $18 million and almost lost his house because he had personally guaranteed all those loans. And so he vowed never to personally guarantee another loan again.
Mm,
And so he's a huge proponent of this. He turned me on to this. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else, because these are things outside. The business is risky enough, but then you have all these external factors like COVID, or if you watch the news, there's at least 50 things you can choose from that
that
could
will
be
freak you out.
that will freak you out. And the last thing you need is if the business goes down, God forbid, and we don't want that to happen, but we certainly don't want to drag your home and your family into that mess as well. And it's a business credit is a risk mitigation tool in addition to
Mhm.
everything else. Hope that makes sense.
Exactly. Yes, and it's so important that we draw that line in the sand and make sure that we're not risking our family and our
Mm,
kids home and the things that we've got because we did a personal guarantee. And we know, like you
mm,
said, business is risky enough. We're all risk junkies, that's why we're entrepreneurs, but there's managing the risk in a way that you can do it in the best way
mm.
to leverage your company. And as we said throughout this entire podcast, credit and using other people's money is a fantastic tool for growth that all the big guys use and the small guys ought to use to keep up.
Wow.
Yeah, to keep up with the Joneses and make
Yeah.
sure that you can, deliver your product or service to the market in the
Mm.
best way possible.
It's not just to survive. You want to grow and you want to thrive,
Love
right?
it.
And you'll be positioned to take advantage of situations as they occur. Like let's say somebody go,
Opportunities too.
God forbids somebody goes out of business, your competitor, you'll be able to step in, hire their people, buy their stuff. That's going to be doing the people a favor. The competitor is going to, that's a favor, but the big winner is going to be the community, right? So you'll be positioned
Exactly.
to do that. If you don't have business credit, you're going to, oh man, that guy's going out of business. It's too bad. I could do
I
something,
didn't
it's
have the
just,
cash, right? I didn't have
yeah.
the cash to buy
Mm.
that discounted,
Discounted. Yes.
block of tools or pieces that I
Trucks, those
use to make
trucks.
my
Yeah.
product, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
all opportunity. So I
You'll
know
be
we're singing
ready.
to the choir here.
Yeah.
So it's
I like how
it's
you
good.
think though.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. I love this idea and using these tools and business owners ought to think this way as well and how we
Yes.
can do it. So thanks, Murray. This has been awesome. And audience listeners, I hope that you have picked up a couple of valuable insights and actionable ideas that will help your business become more profitable. And business credit is
Mm,
absolutely
mm,
essential to the financial strength of your company, where you're going to be able to win more bids, going to be able to take advantage of more opportunities, and then when you go later on down the road to sell your company's going to be in a stronger position for the buyer when they come in. So there's thousands of reasons why you need to build good, strong business credit. So
mm.
thanks for tuning in today. Hey, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to take a look and help your business jump to the next level, I encourage you go grab my free Profit Booster Playbook. You can get that at boostingprofit.com, and where I break down the 3 steps to drive profit, streamline your operations, and prepare your business for future growth. And hey, don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows. We're always talking about really good, juicy information that can help you be more profitable. You can find Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Murray. This has been incredible.
My pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Great minds think alike.
Awesome.